A family drives into the fog and vanishes. A father leaves for work and never comes home. A grandmother steps inside her house and disappears forever. 3 families, 3 misters, decades of silence. And just recently, the answers finally came. But the truth is more disturbing than the mysteries itself. Stay with me because these are real stories. And they happened closer to home than you think. Story 1, The Martin Family, 1958. Our first story takes us back to December 5th, 1958. Portland, Oregon, Kent Martin, 54 years old. His wife Barbara, 48, and their 14 years old daughter Barbie. They told their neighbors they were going for a drive, just a simple family trip to the Columbia River, Georgia. They never came back. Days passed, then weeks, then months. Search parties found nothing. Then, in 1959, something horrifying was pulled from the river. The bodies of 2 of the Martin daughters, Virginia and Susan, were found downstream, but not Barbara and Barbie gone without a trace. For 66 years, this family lay at the bottom of the Columbia River, forgotten by the world, but never forgotten by those who knew them. It wasn't until November 2024 that a driver named Arthur Mayo discovered something extraordinary. Submerged deep underwater, buried in a pit on the river floor, was the Martin family's car, flipped upside down, swallowed by the earth itself. Recovery teams tried everything. Cranes, diving equipment, weeks of effort. The car was so deeply buried, they could only recover the frame. But in August 2025, during another search, Arthur Mayo found them. Skeletal remains still inside the vehicle after nearly 17 years underwater. DNA experts from a company called Ostrom performed the impossible, extracting usable DNA from bones that had been submerged for almost 7 decades. And on April 16, 2026, the Oregon medical examiner made it official. The remains belonged to Kenneth, Barbara, and Barbie Martin. The investigation was closed. No evidence of a crime, just a family swallowed by a river on a cold December day in 1958. 66 years, 3 children grew up without parents, and now, at least, they have an answer. Story 2, Joel Diano Valdez. Our second story is more recent and far more disturbing. Joel Valdez, known to everyone as a Diano, 36 years old, ex-Marine, a father of 3. A 10-year-old son, a 14-year-old son, and a 4-year-old daughter. On September 18, 2025, Diano left his job site in Silver City, New Mexico. He was heading home for the weekend, to his family, to his kids. He called them on the way. Everything was normal. He stopped at an ATM in Santa Fe withdrew his usual amount of cash. Then he stopped at a gas station at 5:40 p.m. That was the last confirmed trace of Diano. He never showed up for dinner at a friend's house at 6:20 p.m. He never made it home. Then something strange happened over the weekend of September 19th to 21st. Someone was using Diano's credit card in Santa Fe. It wasn't him. Months later, a woman was arrested. She claimed Diano had approached her, that he overdosed, and that she dumped his body near an area called Las Campanas. Police couldn't confirm her story. His family didn't believe it. Then, on April 12, 2026, a dog walker found human remains on a Cat Del Rayo road, a frost road 15 miles west of Santa Fe. The remains were identified as Diano, but there is what keeps his family awake at night. His cause of death is still unknown. The investigation is still open, and nobody knows exactly what happened to him on that road. A father who just wanted to get home to his kids, and someone or something made sure he never did. Story 3. Sandra Crespo. Our final story begins on August 7th, 2019. Hanson. Sandra Crespo, 40 years old, was dropped off her new home by her relative. Her car was in the shop. She was alone. 2 days later, she didn't show up to watch her grandchildren. Nobody had heard from her. Her family reported her missing immediately. Police opened an investigation, but there's what makes his cause haunting. Investigators said there was no evidence of foul play. Her family never believed that. Years passed, searches, interviews, forensic testing. Officers described the investigation as extensive and exhausting, and still nothing. Until March 6, 2025, 2 hunters in Plymouth were walking a deer trail off Route 3 North when they found something that stopped them cold. Skeletal remains, a portion of a human skull. The FBI was called in for DNA testing, and in May 2026, the remains were officially identified as Sandra Crespo, nearly 7 years after she vanished. But here's the darkest part of this story. Her case has not been classified as a homicide, but the investigation remains open, which means right now, as you're watching this, nobody knows what really happened to Sandra, and somebody out there might. 3 families, 3 mysteries that haunted investigators for decades, and while some of these cases have finally found their answers, others are still open, still waiting, still searching for the truth. If you know anything about the death of Joel Valdez or Sandra Crespo, contact the authorities immediately, because somewhere out there the truth is still buried. If this story gave you chills, You know what to do. Subscribe to Cross the Echoes. Turn on notification because the next story is even darker. See you in the shadows.